Hello and welcome to Ageless Rock Channel, where megalithic lens is required to see things from a megalithic perspective. Even though Kauai Island is a tiny dot in the Pacific Ocean, it is nevertheless full of mysteries. Hawaii is famous for tourism, but the tourism industry doesn't seem to promote its ancient monuments enough to a level where at least Americans are aware and talk about its ancient wonders. If I pin Hawaii at the center of the planet, you might see that other Polynesian islands are very south of Hawaii. When the Europeans discovered these islands one by one, you will know that they don't quite know each other. They all have myths and legends of their origin, and they seem to coincidentally say they are the center of the world and everyone was procreated from them. Today, we are going to dive into a very strange pond. It is not just a fish pond. It is not just an ancient fish pond. It is a mysterious ancient fish pond. It is called Menehune Fish Pond. Even the name is enough to give you an aura of spiritual connection. Strategically, this pond location makes sense because it catches fresh water from Hulea Stream so that they can have freshwater fish. It must have been great to live around this area in ancient times. You can have freshwater fish and saltwater fish on alternate days. It is actually a straight wall of earth and basalt stones, as you can see in the yellow box. It is mostly earth. It is not clear how long the wall is because the west end seems to sink into the swamp, while the east end touches a small pond. Researchers have measurements ranging from 600 meters to 850 meters, depending on the starting and ending point, but generally they agreed for now to be 900 yards. Hawaii comes with plenty of myths and legends, and Menehune Fish Pond has one too. It is believed that two guardian spirits known as Aumakua protected this pond. They were royal children who possessed supernatural power. The sister by the name Kalala Lehua can change into a lizard, while the brother Alekoko can change into a shark. That is why the locals call this Alekoko fish pond. How did ancient Hawaiians who dumped basalt rocks to form a fish pond only to end up with such stories for their future generation? There is a legend that says Menehune lined up on the hillside to pass so many rocks that their hands and fingers were bleeding. Ale means dripping and koko means blood, and hence the name Ale Koko is derived. If Menehune can bleed, that means they are humans. That might explain why 85 Hawaiians were recorded as Menehune in 1820 census by Kamoali'i, who was the last supreme leader of Kauai. Another legend says that Menehune made a line side by side and passed the rocks from the source, which is 25 miles long, and completed it in one night. If it was done by Hawaiians, whether it is 500 or 1,000 years ago, it is still extremely advanced for people using stone tools and were busy hunting and gathering food from surrounding vegetations. This aquaculture should have made Hawaiians pioneers and world-class in harvesting mullets and milkfish as what they seem to be used for today. The wall barrier is not just dumping random rocks in random manner, but rather a well-planned structure where bigger rocks are at the bottom and decreasing in size and slope at an angle for stability. Building a barrier to rare fish proves Hawaiians left behind the lifestyle of hunting and gathering. This remarkable upgrade of human lifestyle cannot result in inability to maintain and giving away a monumental pride to nothing but a legend that everyone has a hard time believing. The wall of Menehune Fish Pond is made of regular basalt boulders that strongmen can manage, but most of the wall is earthwork. This early photo shows that the eastern end is broken and it is said to be 1000 years old, while some says it is only 500 years old. But if it is that recent, then when the Europeans arrived 300 years ago, they should be able to even show them how they did it. No need to give credit to Menehune if Hawaiians themselves actually did it not too long ago. Instead of being the exporter of fish to neighboring islands, this pond was left in ruin. There were repairs done on the east end and additions were made to the existing site. There are many legends and versions you can read on your own, and I wonder why is that. This extremely ancient pond with no history is something very fishy to me. Archaeologists have to explain the psychology of Hawaiians, why they deny their awesome hardworking ancestors' work and unanimously gave credit to beings from another dimension. In 1973, this area was designated as Hulea National Wildlife Refuge. It is now home to many endemic aquatic birds. It is both sacred and protected, and the rocks are covered in mangroves. I can see colossal fish ponds in the island for freshwater fish, but fish ponds by the sea won't make a lot of sense when all you need is just dive in. Now sunken about 2 meters into the ocean, I wonder why Hawaiians abandon it when all they need to do is top it up with more basalt stones. With population increase, there is even more reason to keep fish pond actively in use instead of abandon it. If these were done when sea levels were much lower, the present history of Hawaii might be a little different because they would not be fish ponds at all. There is also another interesting legend that says this pond was built by the Menehune for a princess and her brother. The Menehune works at night because they don't like anyone to see them working. It is also a bad luck for those who saw them working. The princess and her brother couldn't resist their curiosity. They ventured into the night and spied on the Menehune working on the pond. However, they were caught spying and the Menehune turned the princess and her brother into stone pillars. The two pillars are said to be still standing, and I might have to go there to see it myself. I believe it is one of those monoliths you can find somewhere near the pond. Maybe we should rethink about myths and legends when it comes to human beings turned to stone type of stories. In the Bible, the famous story of Lot's wife turned to stone in the form of a pillar of salt is believed by Catholics, Christians, and Muslims. But this story is not struck off as myth or legend. It survived the believability test. In Guam, a celestial female being became a rock as part of the Chamorro creation story didn't survive the believability test, and it didn't survive as actual historical account. So the Fu'unan rock remains a product of our imagination. It goes to show that our brain is incapable of knowing which is fact and which is fiction. But I'm sure we are capable of turning facts into fictions and fictions into facts. You can check out my videos on these interesting sites with the links below. In Indonesia, there is a megalithic site known as Ratu Boko Palace. The local tradition says it was built by Prince Bondowoso, who called upon the spirits and genies who work only at night to build 1000 temples in order to marry Princess Ratu Boko, who is Princess Roro Jonggrang. However, the spirits and genies stopped at 999 temples because they were tricked into believing that it was sunrise. In a rage, Prince Bondowoso cursed Princess Roro Jonggrang and turned her into stone. The statue of Durga in Prambanan temple was thought to be her image. Well, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this short presentation on Menehune Pond. See you in the next video and have a wonderful day. This is Berniong signing out. Awio aloha.